Boulder County Sheriff says he would not be surprised if there were more injuries or even deaths due to the intensity of this fire. He says it was a both chaotic but orderly scene as people grabbed each other's hands and got out of this store into safety.
We've seen some people with milk, and you can also see some people jumping up on the roof here. Not sure what they're trying to accomplish, but we know on the other side is where that tear gas is coming from.
A number of those employees tell us that when this happened, they heard a number of gunshots, did not know where it was coming from. But what they did do was they made sure to get everyone to safety. The officials say that fire grew more than 6,000 acres overnight. And today they have more than 600 people on the ground and in the air trying to contain it. It was a tense scene in Denver court this morning as the family of the victim in this case ripped into the prosecutors and also made an emotional plea to the judge. It is bitterly cold out here as the snow continues to come down. We've gotten a few inches up here in the high country. Fire officials tell me that this amount of snow is enough to maybe put out some spot fires and really moisten the ground. That front has started to creep in, bringing colder temperatures, wind, and eventually some precipitation. But still, this fire is growing rapidly, and a number of people living up here fear that a little bit of snow may be too little too late. You got the Stanley Cup champions 2022, and now look at my friend Eric back here. He's got the original. This is the 1996 Stanley Cup hat. For the Walton Penner Group today went exactly as expected, quickly getting the votes of 32 other owners to approve buying the team for a record $4.65 billion. A source who has been a part of these sales before tells us that the Broncos situation is a little bit more complicated than the Panthers because there's a trust involved as well as an auction process. Source tells me up to 400 homes could have been damaged before now, and today we learned 7 of them belonged to first responders. One person we spoke with was here simply to get a bag of chips, and another person had a family member coming here to get their COVID vaccine. Each one saw and heard the stuff of nightmares as this community hub became a deadly crime scene.
Heard, one loud bang, thought somebody just dropped something.
Harrowing moments at the Table Mesa King Soopers in Boulder as armed police swarmed outside and customers sprinted away from an active shooter.
We ran to the back of the store and, found our way into the employee back of house.
Ryan Borowski says while the gunfire continued at the other side of the store, customers and employees helped each other to safety.
Somebody had their hand on my back, I had my hand on somebody's back, and we were just saying, go, 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 run. When we got to the back of the store, there were employees who still didn't know what was going on, and we just told them to run.
Across the building, this man's son-in-law stared death in the face while he waited with his daughters to get a COVID shot.
The shooter came in, shot the woman in front of them. They hid, ran upstairs or hiding in a coat closet for the last hour.
As the family hid and texted loved ones updates, SWAT teams from across the metro area responded with force and negotiation, eventually taking the alleged shooter into custody and ushering people away.
Can't believe it's happening in Boulder, honestly.
10 people, including a Boulder police officer, lost their lives. Many more will forever be scarred.
When it's your family, you feel it.
Now, as you can see, it is still an active scene out here as this long investigation is still in its early phases. Tonight, the DA says he has the full cooperation of local, state, and federal authorities, and they pledge to ensure justice is served. Live tonight in Boulder, Conor McCue covering Colorado First. For 7 years, Lucy Molina has called Commerce City home.
I love it because I've grown to love all my neighbors.
But in that time, her family's medical records have piled up.
My daughter has been suffering from chronic headaches, which is migraines. My son was suffering from bloody noses.
December 11th was the latest concern. That morning, a yellow clay-like substance spewed from nearby Suncor Energy.
It was falling everywhere. I mean, they did offer us a car wash because it fell on people's cars, but it also fell on our grass, on our houses, and on the trees.
Suncor called the substance non-hazardous, the result of an operational upset. While state regulators said pollution levels that day didn't exceed national standards, Lucy went to the ER for chest pains.
So for the 2 weeks, I was in and out of the clinic trying to figure out why I had chest pains.
Later in December, Colorado's Air Pollution Control Division hit Suncor with this lengthy compliance advisory. It details more than 100 self-reported air quality violations over 2 years, ranging from hours-long leaks to unregulated hydrogen sulfide flares.
We're diligently working through that right now.
John Putnam is the Director of Environmental Programs at the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment.
We devote more of our inspector capability to that facility than any other single facility.
But in January, CBS 4 found Suncor self-reported at least 5 more compliance issues with numerous possible violations.
So this one is reported to have occurred from basically January 3rd to January 6th.
Jeremy Nichols with Denver-based Wild Earth Guardians says that should concern everyone.
Why isn't anything changing? If the state takes these enforcement actions, why aren't they stopping the violations?
Their objective is not necessarily to collect the most fines. The objective is to get people back into compliance, and we're working hard to figure out how to get them into compliance.
While Suncor declined an interview, the company says it is complying with state and federal regulators, telling CBS 4, "We understand there are concerns with our refinery's performance among our neighbors in the broader community. They expect more from us, and we are committed to improving our performance and rebuilding trust in our neighbors." Lucy Molina says her community feels powerless.
They always tell me, just move, get up and go. Like, it's easy for me to just get up and go. It's not.
In Commerce City, Conor McCue, covering Colorado First. A longtime marathon runner, Kelly Brown is sticking to the basics these days. An impressive feat considering where she was earlier this year.
I started walking in February.
Still, these light workouts are just the next step. In August, she'll run the first race, 11 months and 3 surgeries after a life-altering day.
I'm just starting over again, and you gotta start somewhere.
Last September, Brown and 3 friends were climbing Mount Bancroft when she misstepped and fell almost 30 feet. After calling for help, the Alpine rescue team came to her aid, spending 6 hours to get her down into the hospital.
I wasn't getting out of there by myself, for sure.
She also didn't get out unscathed. A major fracture on her right tibia required multiple procedures and months of rehab.
From the day I fell September 5th until the day I got to bear weight again, December 15th.
A long time to recover as well as reconnect with the team that saved her. It began with Christmas cookies and a donation. Now, months later, the career event planner is organizing their first major fundraiser in 2 years.
We met her on a mission, and now she is on a mission to help us.
In his 25 years on the team, Tom Wood has saved countless people. He says few have given back like this.
We really don't get much in the way of grants or anything like that, so every donation that we get is what keeps us going and helps us to help people.
People like Brown, who's not just planning the 5K, but running in it.
That's how I want this story to finish.
A full circle moment for everyone involved.
I needed this to have a purpose. It couldn't just be, I fell and I got better. It's rescue, recovery, run, reward.